Hi, it's Gadget UK here again, back for part 2 of the Atari ST refurb and upgrade. Massive thanks to pa1mer, Rich pa1mer, for sending this. I've thoroughly enjoyed working on this. In this part we're going to replace the capacitors, we're going to attempt to try and boot this, we're going to try floppy drive, hard disk. We'll also upgrade the TOS ROMs, I think, to Rainbow TOS 1.04. So I'll start with a 470 over here, this big one. So I'm just going to put that down there. I can see the solder points here. I'm just going to use the solder pump. I might swap over to the solder station in a minute. I don't know, let's just see. From my experience, ST boards can be a pain to work on. You do want like the extra power capabilities that a desolder station would give you. Yeah, I feel like the heat is not travelling all the way through there, if I'm honest. Let's just add some fresh solder. Because I use solder hose, use solder containing flux. And of course, because caps are on the ground and power rails and stuff, they will absorb more heat, need more heat. There we go. So the ground was towards the inside of the board there. That one's 470 microfarad, 16 volt. No, it's not Nikon, it's Nikon. Anyway, we'll test them afterwards. I'm just going to get some Panasonics on, I think. Yeah, not quite the same footprint, a bit smaller. Nevertheless, it's a Panasonic. I'll inspect where the legs were as well. Yeah, it looks tidy. There's not even any point in cleaning up here. That one hasn't leaked, definitely not. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, so whilst the leg placement is subtly different on this cap, it's only like 1mm out. We bend them both slightly to the sides, just a little bit, and the legs are through perfectly here. The interesting thing with these caps, and I've had this with some caps, you get them and the legs are already cut in. I don't know why. It's like they come with just the right length legs, so you don't actually even need to trim them. That is like the perfect length, that leg, and this one's the same. I'll just give it a few seconds for the heat to transfer. Your ideal scenario really with a cap on a power rail like that is for the solder to go through onto the top side as well. There we go, one down. So I'll just do my usual marking it up. I've got the green marker here, we'll stick a green blob on there, it's just obvious. And I can label it as well, and then it'll be obvious to anyone going inside this that cap's been replaced. Yeah, that leg's it just needs a little press here because it's not quite flat. So this next one, I'll see where that goes. Yeah, negative towards the outside on both of these. 22 microfarad, 16 volt. So this one goes negative towards the outside. God, I can't see where the solder points are for that. It's here, I think it's those ones. Let's just try and get a little bit of solder there, because that looks like a resistor or something that's going across. Yeah, so these are higher voltage, but super low ESR. So I'll get one there, and again Panasonic, I think the FR series, these ones. Yeah, so just fast forwarded through the recap section here. You've seen it so many times on so many different videos on my channel. Basically, as I mentioned in annotations earlier, you want to check the microfarad rating, the voltage. You can go slightly higher on voltage rating, but remember there's an ESR rating, equivalent series resistance rating related to the voltage. So if you go, let's say you got a 16 volt cap and you go to 35 volts, the ESR might be higher, which means that cap, depending on where it is on the board, its life might not be as long as it would be if you'd used one that's nearer to the voltage. And you can underrate slightly as long as you don't go below the voltage rating on electrolytic. Say you got a 16 volt cap on a 5 volt rail, you could go for a 10 volt cap, that would be fine. The exception is with tantalums. When you're sizing tantalum capacitors, and there aren't any on this, but when you're sizing tantalum capacitors, always go up a little bit. Again, taking into account, ESR, with whatever cap you fit there. But let's say you've got, I don't know, a 12 volt rail, you've got a 16 volt tantalum, there's very high probability at some point that tantalum will fail. You want to be looking at 25 volt or 35 volt tantalum, say, on a 12 volt rail, just to give it a region of tolerance where it's likely to survive a lot longer. Anybody who's worked on PC motherboards and power supplies will know that tantalums on a 12 volt rail, when the 16 volt rated, they nearly always fail at some point, whereas the 25 volt ones tend not to. Yeah, and there's an axial cap here, thanks to, I think it was Jay's Vintage Junk helped me remember the difference between axial and radial. Axial, the legs come out the sides of the capacitor, you know, in its cylindrical form, if you like the axles on a car. That's how Jay helped me remember that. It took me 30 odd years how to remember that. Thanks to Jay. Yeah, so we've swapped it for the radial type, and I've just laying it down on the board and sticking a pad underneath it, and some heat shrink around the leg that's extended with the wire, etc. It's fine to do that sort of thing as long as it's secured to the board properly. And I've uprated it, I think, to 1000 microfarad instead of 220. It was quite a large capacitor physically, but only 220 microfarads, so I've increased it to 1000. You can argue the sticky pad thing is a bit of a waste of time, but I just wanted to double protect it, as well as sticking some hot melt glue in a few places. Because hot melt glue can break off fairly easy. Yeah, so I'm going to stick the first bit here, if I can position it. I need to tidy this bench up now, I've got stuff all over the blooming place. Yeah, I'm going to put it like right underneath the front of it here. And I may get a bit at the back, I don't know, let's just see how we get on with that. Yeah, let's just give that a bit of a test. Yeah, I can still see the glue drying there. Probably better off to plug it in here before you plug it into the inlet, actually, just in case it's on. Switch it on. It's interesting, we've got a difference now. Did you hear that? We can hear the keyboard. We couldn't hear the keyboard before. So one of those caps was a problem. Maybe for the sound coupling. Yeah? That's normal behaviour, I think, when you've not got a keyboard connected, I think, unless we've got a fault. Let me try plugging the keyboard in. Granted, we haven't got much space to work in here. It's not going to reach, is it, without risking showing. I can hold it up, so I'm holding it up, switch it on. Oh, we've got... That could be a stuck key, because after I pressed the space it stopped. I don't think we were getting sound before. I really don't. Ah, we got a key down. That's what the key noise was. Got a spring missing there or something. Yeah, so we've got that to do. Oh well, we're making some progress, aren't we? In ways that we didn't anticipate, like I didn't think sound was missing. It's funny the things you discover when you recap something, isn't it? Granted, if we got a disc in there, we may have gone, oh, there's no sound, or the sound's really quiet, or what's going on with the sound? But, well, we didn't do it that way. We just did the initial test, and then here we are after recapping it. It's clear to me it had a sound fault, but no longer. Yeah, so on this I'm just going to go around the majority of the area like this, and then we'll use cotton buds to get in between the little gaps and nooks and crannies and things. Yeah, don't just wet a board like this, you know. I see too many people just putting an IPA in a toothbrush and brushing around. If you don't use cotton buds, you don't collect the dirt, yeah? If you were just to spray this with IPA and brush around, congratulations at moving dirt around on the board, that's all you do. If you don't absorb it, or wipe it to, you know, be absorbed into whatever you're wiping it with, you don't get rid of it. And of course you need to go through multiple cotton buds before you make a big dent in the dirt there. Anyway, you get the idea. At the back it's looking a bit better, but a bit streaky still. It needs some more work with cotton buds. Anyway, I'll report back in about 3 hours when I finished doing the usual clean with the cotton buds and paper towel. Let's try and get it back in here now, I think. So the cutout is on the left there. Yeah, it's a bit warm, the shield, but do you know what, it's not that bad. The odd bit of rust is not too bad there. So let's try and get it back into that. I haven't got the wrist strap on just now. If it stops working, we know why. Let's get the wrist strap back on. Yeah, that's back in all around, I think. Yeah, the case is pretty clean. Just having a bit of a wipe around with IPA. We'll try and wipe that bit up there as well. Strange black mark, whatever that was. Anyway, it's pretty much gone there. Yeah, I'm keen to get this board screwed back in. Just because, well, I don't want to mess up the screws. Right now I know where the screws are, which screws go where. Give it a day or two, I won't remember. Oh, that was easy. It was just behind me. Yeah, this mouse, hang on. Yeah, this mouse is Atari Amiga. Switch it to Atari. That's why I like that mouse. It's a nice mouse. The volume's pretty loud, by the way. That's what. Oh, it's not. Oh, a bit noisy sound. Ah, we can move the mouse. Look. Let's see what version of TOS it's got. Doesn't tell you. My guess is 1.02. Let's press a key. And I guess that's the next thing to do, is press every key. I like the fact you can hear them. This is a really easy way to test the keyboard. That's the one that sticks. We need a spring for that. Yeah, so everything's fine apart from we don't have a spring there, do we? Oh no, we do have a spring there. That was just like it's sticking in. Sticking in. That. Yeah, just those two there, bit of dirt around them. So that's interesting. Put the springs down a minute. Yeah, so my guess is the gap there has got a bit dirty. I'm going to start with a simple thing, contact cleaner. Hang on, what am I pressing here now? Probably that key. Get it beeping. Let's just try getting that back in there. Hang on, I'm going to clean that key first because it's got loads of crap all over the flipping thing. Yeah, just in between them here, some black ooze. There we go. It's off. I just think it's had a spill or something. I mean, you can argue take the keyboard to pieces, but well, the keyboard's working. I don't think it really needs a full disassembly. And you never know, it might appear on someone else's channel yet. If one of, hang on, some ooze on that. If one of the guys in my Discord ends up buying this, assuming pa1mer doesn't want it back, someone else may do the upgrades to it and may strip the keyboard right down. That is just sticking, isn't it? It's going to need some Molykote around here. Never recorded when I did that. This is the stuff I use, Molykote EMVL. So it's a synthetic grease. There's hardly any left in there. Look, I need to get some more. It's safe to use on rubbers and plastics and everything, and you just, it just solves all the problems. So you can see one of the plungers here, and all I did is just, dab my tool in the Molykote and just put some around the stem here, clip the keycap and the spring back on, and that was it. It just instantly worked, and it was reliable, perfect after that. So anyway, you can see how I did it. Yeah, so the ROM for the Atari ST is a really weird size. It's 192K. You need 6 32K blocks. And if you look at any of the ROM images, they're all like a single file, a single 192K file. You're like, oh my god, how do I split this into 6 ROMs, 3 of them low ROMs, 3 of them high ROMs? What I did is used Atari, an emulator here for the Atari ST, and I pointed it at TOS 1.04 as this ROM, as this TOS ROM. and once booted up I used this utility. You can see, I think it's called ROM Split. It might be one of the utilities from Peter Putnik, I'm not sure, I can't remember where I got that from, but yeah, that utility, you can just run it and you can decide, what do you want? Do you want 2 ROMs? Do you want 6 ROMs? Etc. And it obviously outputs them somewhere on that virtual, that emulated machine. And I just mapped like somewhere on the E drive or the C drive on Windows 10 to like a virtual hard disk, if you like, on that machine. So I was able to drag those 6 files to that folder, go back to Windows 10 and go, there are the 6 ROM files. And then I could program them up using the TL866. Well, that was a bit of a miracle. All 6 chips just programmed up straight away. They were erased from, purchase, and yeah, it just works. I was like amazed at that. I mean, I did use the T48, the Willem. It was a bit more hit and miss, but yeah, from experience, well, it's never fun trying to program these ROM chips. Not from my experience anyway. Anyway, let's undo these screws here because we need to get this top shield off in order to swap these ROM chips. So there's 1.04 Rainbow TOS, and we've got to replace all 6. I'm probably going to need to Google the heck out of these different part numbers now. Oh, there's the screw. Let's get rid of that before it shows something. Yeah, I'll just read these out to you. The one down here that's got a different surface to it, like it's been replaced at some point. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, there's definitely 6. That's C026160-001. Then the one above it is C026244-001. And then we've got 245001, 163001, 246001, 247001. So it's like, where's the sequential numbering of these? It's like, I don't get. And there's a separate subcode on the bottom here. This one says 5M4AO, that says 6C4A7, 6C5A9, 6E2C1. Do you see what I mean? So it's just like, just random. I don't know. It's like anybody's guess which one's the low ones. Yeah, of these 3, you've got 3 low, 3 high. Does it go 0, 0, 1, 1, 2, 2? I don't know. I'm going to have to Google those. Right, I found a diagram online which makes sense. So it's high 2, high 1, high 0, and then it's low 2, low 1, low 0. So yeah, at least I've been able to sort of make sense of that. I've got to try and find the chip now. So this one was high 2, I think I finished on high 2. Yeah, last chip going in now, so it's H210L21L0 we're finishing off with here. So, yeah, the pins are not great on some of these. I mean, they're all tinned up, but yeah, they just look, they look tinned up is what they look. I think everything's gone in alright there now, so we need to connect power back up and just give this a try, see what it does. Yeah, power's over here. It's amazing, I've not worked on this in a month or so and can't remember where anything is. I was shocked a minute ago going, oh my god, there's no floppy drive. Yeah, it's that model. It's that model without a floppy drive, the only one. And if I press the key, yay, it's booting. So, yeah, mouse not doing anything. Let's try the other port. There's a chance these need resoldering, but oh no, look, mouse working now. Yay, Rainbow TOS. Fantastic. And just wiping off the green ink that I wrote on top, it's no surprise that there's black coming off there. So yeah, I need to do a fake. And the other clue there, when you saw me program that first chip, it didn't ID match, did it? The marked as ST chips, it didn't match. So my guess is, and it's just wiping straight off this, they're either Intel or AMD these. I don't think they're going to be ST at all. I do not understand China. It's like, I'd have bought them if they were Intel, I'd have bought them if they were AMD, I'd have bought them if they were mismatched, different, the same type of chip but from different manufacturers. You don't need to paint them. Why do you paint them? You're wasting your time. You're wasting money. You like profit, yeah? You like profit. Stop painting things. Why? Why would you want to spend money painting things when no one gives a crap that it's painted? It is quite frankly beyond belief. See, that one's a Texas Instruments chip, I think. Let's have a look at that one. Yeah, as it's worn away there, it's got Texas Instruments straight visible underneath the paint. Stop painting things. I do not understand it. I don't understand it. It's like, who are you trying to trick? You're not tricking anybody. And all we do is wipe them like this anyway. I mean, strictly speaking, I can now upload a photo to eBay and show this, yeah, in a video, and then go, these are fake, I'm not paying for these. And you're going to lose out. Why would you want to risk losing out money and spend more money to paint them? It's quite frankly beyond belief. These are really badly painted because the actual original print is just really clearly visible underneath here. They were all marked as ST, now they're not. Anyway, let's just have a look what we've got now. So yeah, Texas Instruments, ST, Texas Instruments. Yeah, it's the speeds as well, you see. Yeah, -20, -20, -15, -15. This is one of the potential reasons why they're doing it this way. You know, I'm being frauded here by selling me something that's not got the same speed rating. Yeah. So I think -20s will be all right. Time will tell. We need to test it first. But yeah, be careful what you buy off eBay. And if you're watching this AliExpress or Chinese sellers on eBay, stop doing it. Just sell us what it actually is. I still probably would have bought them even with varying speeds, to be honest, and varying manufacturers. So I don't know, you just give yourself a bad reputation is what you do. Certainly if someone gets problems and something doesn't work, or they clean it like I've done here, maybe not intentionally looking for fakes, but they discover they've got a fake, potentially you'll sell no more. Whereas if you didn't go down that road, you may sell the entire batch of chips you were trying to sell. I mean, I'll be honest, right, if I found a seller like this, right, it went not painted, not fakes, varying manufacturers, varying speeds, at the price they were at, I'd have bought another 10 or another 20 of them. Because the seller has got a reputation, his reputation precedes him. He's explaining that what it is, you get what you pay for. Even if some of them didn't work, I don't think I'd be bothered. Yeah, it looks like they're upside down. They are, as you look at it this way, but yeah, in terms of the pin 1 marking to this side here, yeah, the writing wants to go that way up. So we've got H2, H1, and these labels may not all be cut exactly perfectly, and they may not be centered in the same way on every single chip. I'm not bothered. We just need something to protect the window and identify what it is. So it's trying to boot from an Ultra here. You know, this is an external hard disk. If you watch the LEDs here, it does inquire them, you know, it's left, right, and that's it. We get the green desktop, you know, minus icons because there's no floppy drive connected. Does it need a floppy drive connected? I don't know. Obviously, we've got no floppy interface on board on these. You've got to use just external. Is that something to do with it though? I'll try and reset. I've tried reseating the cards, swapping the cards around. I checked the connections on this cable because for a long while I suspected there might be a bad connection on this cable, but it seems to be fully wired. And yeah, it's just not working. I'll try and reset. I don't know. I'm really puzzled. Right, so let's try this Exos Diagnostic cart. It's got a lot of different things on it, this, that you can configure, you know, using the jumpers here. And I've set it to Genbench 6, because I want to look at the specs of the machine. And it's going to go into the cartridge port here. These all go face up, to my knowledge. probably going to destroy something now. I find it's not face up. You saw a bit of dirt fly out of that then. Well, let's switch it on, see what happens. Screen went up and down a bit there as well. Medium. Right, let's try again. I'm going to mute that TV. Oh, I'm going to turn it down. It's just that humming. It's driving me nuts. So if we go, let's just do loop all tests. Yeah, Exos actually updated this to version 6, and it's gone beyond version 6 now, I think. I could be wrong, but I suspect so, because this is 4 or 5 years old, this car, I think. I think I got this in 2020, actually, with the Falcon. Well, I didn't get it with the Falcon, I bought it at the time when I got the Falcon, because you can do some Falcon diagnostics using this cartridge as well. And it's got the Diagnostics ROMs built in as well, but, well, it seems to be working, doesn't it? So I don't think I need to diagnose anything at the moment. It'd be useful to check the keyboard out using the diag side of things. It's crazy, isn't it, how we do things like this on modern operating systems. We take it all for granted, like how much power is actually involved CPU wise to do that. You've got more power in your watch these days than any of these systems. I mean, not even in your watch, probably in your key fob for your car. It's probably got more CPU power. I still haven't worked out how much RAM there is. Does it even tell us how much RAM there is there? I mean, it's showing TOS there 1.04. Blitter not present. RAM from ST-RAM. I'm amazed it doesn't even tell you how much RAM you have. And let's see what else we can do with this. So you've got ST 4.4. Let's do that. I think there's also YA Art ST, YA Art TT. I don't know what that is. YA Art. Anyway, let's put it in ST. So that's these two want to go across one. So that should be ST Diagnostics 4.4. So let's try and get that in. Switch it on. There we go. That's looking good. Let's do R for RAM, because I want to see how much RAM there is. Why did the screen got black when I pressed that? There's something weird with the display on this. Oh look, it's the TV. TV's sort of connects into the video and then no. I still don't know how much RAM we've got, so... Oh, 1 meg. Yeah, there we go. 1 meg pass. Could do A for audio. I've not actually heard any audio apart from the clicks. Oh, there we go. So, I've made some progress. This is not the intended direction I wanted to go in. The ultrasound's not working. I don't know why. I'm going to investigate further. But I've got a PC floppy drive that was just knocking around here that needs servicing. I think it came from Barry, actually. It might not have done. It's Neutronics, or is it Mitsumi? It's Mitsumi. Yeah, Neutronics Mitsumi. It's powered by the cartridge adapter there. This was a birthday gift this year, 2025, from all of the amazing people in my Discord. So thank you ever so much for that. And it's an external adapter, probably for a Gotek, but I've connected a floppy drive up. So we now have a floppy drive, and I've stuck Operation Wolf, a copy there that I've got, and I've switched that on. It spins. It's booting. Haha, there we go. So we actually got it working. Yeah, the TV's scrunched up again. Let's do 1 for Operation Wolf. I need to sort out that buzzing. It is irritating the heck out of me, that buzzing. I don't really know why it's doing that. It's weird, isn't it? It's like almost like the sort of noise you get with RF. I mean, you can hear the processing there. It shouldn't be able to do that. Yeah, so it is working. I'm very pleased though, because we can now play some games from floppy drive. Let me just try reconnecting that. Yeah, this TV, you reconnect it, there you go, disconnect, reconnect a few times and you get a proper display. That is just my TV though. How do you start this? Left click. It's loading from the disk again. Yeah, from memory, I think the ST version is pretty good actually, maybe better than the Amiga one. The problem with the Amiga one is too quick, but maybe this is going to be the same, I don't know, let's see. I'm pleased though, because at the end of today we've got TOS 1.04 in there. We know it's got 1 megabyte. The tests and things worked okay that we did. And it's booting from floppy, it's playing games. It's very noisy though. I'm lucky really that floppy drive works from a single connection, power connection. I think it's just a 5-volt connection going to it and it seems to be working okay. Some drives need the 12-volt connection as well as the 5-volt. Yeah, slow to load. Yeah, this is my copy of Operation Wolf from back in the day. I used to play this on my STFM. It was 512k, I upgraded it to a megabyte by fitting the additional 16 RAM chips. I wonder what happened to that ST. I mean, I know who I think roughly who I sold it to. It was a friend of Albert's at the time. I'm trying to remember what I got for it. I think I might have got £100 for it. I don't know. So slow to load. Yay. Let's kick some. Now, bear in mind I'm using the mouse on my hand. So that's going to always end well, isn't it? Yeah, you can see it's not as fast as the Amiga version, but yeah, it's almost on par with it though, in terms of a ridiculous amount of enemies coming on screen at once. Right click, not left click. Left click fires bullets, right click fires grenades. I think you can tell I like using grenades. Very slow this version, isn't it? So I mean the Amiga one's definitely better, this is inferior, just because of how slow it is. How are you supposed to shoot that knife? Gotta get that pixel perfect on the handle, I think. Oh, gonna have to run out of bullets here. Dead. It makes me appreciate the Amiga version, but it's so long since I tried it on the ST. Can't wait for the ending screen to load in there, look. Definitely much better when it's running from hard disk.
You have sustained a lethal injury. Sorry, but you are finished here.
Yeah, you only got 3 channels on the Yamaha there. So samples like that, we're often using all 3 channels overlapping at the same time, hence why you didn't get music and samples. God, the music's awful here. Which I'm surprised at. They should have taken the music from the Spectrum version because the chip is more or less the same thing. It was more enhanced on the ST. Right, Let's try something else. I think that music's from the Spectrum version, to be honest. I'm amazed though, I'm amazed that works with no tinkering, no jumpers changed, no nothing. That might even be a high density floppy drive, it probably is. That was my recollection from back in the day as well, what my friend Andy, Woody, used to come round. And one day he connected up a PC floppy drive that I had knocking around, a high density one, and it works. And I think you can actually utilise it, I don't know. I seem to remember being able to read HD discs, but I could be wrong. I think you needed the Ajax chip for that actually, and I didn't have that, so maybe my recollection's wrong. You used a HD floppy drive and it would boot, you know, in double density mode, and I guess that's not a surprise because the switch is the thing that, you know, dictates is it a HD disc, a double density disc. Using a mega multi here from James over at Retro HQ. Links to those down below. Very affordable and very, very useful for systems like this. It just means we can use a Mega Drive pad and get lots of extra features and things. Yeah, the music's pretty good on this. Let's go with a duck. I think in many ways I prefer this version to, I said this before about Operation Wolf, I prefer this version to the Amiga version. I know the music is a bit more, let's say, colourful on the Amiga, because obviously you've got 4 channels on Paula there and it's PCM based. Here you've got, like, you know, OPL sounding thing. You know, it's like FM synthesis, isn't it, I think, at the end of the day. And I just feel like it fits better, really. And I think the ST had the same music from some of the other versions, like the CPC, maybe the Spectrum. Because again, the same, you know, family of sound chip. It was not much effort for them to port it to those different systems. Yeah, this is one of those ones that sounds good in stereo. My STFM, I did a stereo mod to it. It's switchable, so you can mix all 3 channels again with a flip of a switch. But on something like this, you've got, you know, independent sounds and things coming from the independent channels, and it can sound pretty good, in my opinion. Some people aren't bothered. Some people prefer, you know, the original mono sound. The STE brought stereo, but only in terms of the additional sound channels it brought in. You know, it brought some PCM stuff, didn't it? Try and compete with the Amiga. I'm pleased, despite how exploded everything is looking at the moment. And you know what? The sound's alright at the moment. It sounds a lot better. Maybe I just had the volume too loud before. But there was a point where we had no sound at all, and I fiddled with the cable and it was alright. So maybe we've got a bad point here. Maybe need some contact cleaner in there. Sorry, is that the power? That's the power. Where's the video now? There's video's here, isn't it? Yeah, contact cleaner and inspect for bad solder joints, really, I think. Yeah, an old sample disc that I had here, it's a demo. You can tell it's Vogue from Madonna. I think it used all 1 meg. You know, when you go to an Amiga from having an ST, you realise how bad the ST is at certain games, like scrolling like this. It's really bad. Frame rate is terrible. This would have been good with an STE port, and I think there was an STE port in the works. There might be a demo version of that available, I don't know. I remember seeing a video on it where it performed really well, it was really quick. But the frame rate here is, I don't know, 3 frames per second, 5 maybe. Maybe 10, maybe I'm not giving it credit where credit's due, but it feels incredibly slow. mean, I've had a couple of goes here and I've not got off the first wave of enemies. This is the best I've done. I'm kind of getting used to it now, so maybe it's not as bad as I'm thinking, but having played the Amiga version, yeah, there's a massive contrast in performance. What's that one doing up there? Oh, good God. I thought I was going to miss that one. Now I've lost the force. That one at the top is really irritating on the SD version. It's like hanging around there. Bullets from behind. Anyway, it's working. And that was from the Ultra Satan. When you've got 1 mega RAM, obviously you're quite limited in terms of what games will actually work. The stuff from Peter Putnik work a hell of a lot better. You know, I've got some debug versions of games. You know, they were a cracking crew. You know, and they did ports and things. You know, not really ports, and they did, you know, trainers and things like that, and versions that would run from hard disk. Some of their games won't run with 1 meg from Ultra Satan. They probably would from floppy. Well, they definitely would from floppy, but not from an Ultra Satan. Yeah, so there'll be a link down below to Peter Putnik's website. He's quite active. You know, he's always, you know, each month if you look, you'll find he's done 100 games in a month or something. It's like working away through them. Maybe not that many, maybe 20 or 30. And he goes through all the different games in the ST library and makes them compatible with hard disk launching like this. I mean, I can show you that if I load one of them. I'll try and find one. Some of them, like I say, I've not had much success in loading, but others I have. Let's try Narc. Will that work? That was an arcade game, wasn't it? Yeah, so all his... Hang on, that's a debug one, isn't it, I think? Yes, it is. Debug presents. I guess this won't work, so let's just try it. He's a really smart guy as well. Serrano Jones, you know, associated with the debug. So the ports he's done do work. There you go. They work when you've got more RAM, but when you've not got more than a meg, this is what you get. You get problems like that. So yeah, that's one issue. That's why I would go with Peter Putnik's stuff generally. And he's done pretty much all the library. I haven't found a game where I've gone searching for a game that's not on Peter's website there. So if I do that, yeah, and a lot of his games start this way, with this yellow screen telling you any, you know, cheats and how to get out. Exit to desktop is star on the numpad, a bit like WHD load, so it's quite nice, isn't it? And it tells me what the TOS version is and how much RAM I've got. And sometimes it'll tell you any, you know, prerequisites, like do you need more RAM or whatever, and then you press space, you get this screen. The interesting thing is here, I see this distortion like this when I run my STFM at 16 megahertz. Right here now, we're not running at 16 megahertz. This has only got a stock CPU. So for whatever reason, the title screen is not displaying on this STF, which is interesting. But the game seems to be working, look, hopefully. So this looks like, yeah, one of the ones that will work with 1 meg. And from my experience, Peter Putnik's games, most of them will work with 1 meg from hard disk. Whereas, like I said, the debug ones, you'll have a problem with. Yeah, we are testing Operation Wolf again, so I won't play this very long. I'll just make sure the game starts. It's like WHD load where it goes black, the screen goes black, that sort of thing, in it. Fading in and out of loading bits. A lot of fading in and out there. Yay, that's working fine. They've got a load of bits of rust on here, so I'm just going to use the fiberglass pencil here on these bits of rust. And it's actually easier to use this grinding pen. Well, this is massive work, and it's taking me time. I've been at it 10 minutes already, but I've done half this side. I'm using some white vinegar here now, just because, well, that should help clean it. Yeah, it's removing some of the reddiness there, which allows me then to see which bits are still red, if that makes sense. Wow, that took flipping ages. Final thing here now is just to get some WD-40 on this and give it a wipe clean. Yeah, this will clean some of the rust off there. It will also protect it. And one of the reasons to do this, you may think it's just about presentation, it isn't. It's about flakes of rust falling onto the motherboard. Yeah, and some of that stuff was really flaky. As soon as I hit it with the grinding pen there, it flaked off really easy. So if you don't deal with stuff like that, it could come back and haunt you and cause a fault on the board. So there's a final look at the board before we get the shield back on. Obviously we've recapped it, we've reseated this and secured this up a bit. Yeah, swapped that cap. It's a different type of cap, it's radial instead of axial. Labelled up the TOS 1.04 ROMs that we fitted. So yeah, moving forward it should be a lot more compatible with everything. And yeah, we've proven it works with ultrasane, and we've proven it works with the external drive. So someone just needs to get an external drive for this, but anyway, I will be unfortunately to sell this because I've got too many things here, too many systems. I need to sell a lot of my systems. I have an ST and an STE, and there'll be videos coming up on those soon, as I mentioned earlier. But yeah, I need the space and I need the funds. I've had a pay rise in 5 years, so and the advertising on YouTube has gone down the pan completely. Anybody thinking about getting into YouTube, thinking you're going to make loads of money doing something like this, think again. You won't. I've never made enough money to be self-employed, put it that way. If I didn't have a part-time job, which I haven't had a pay rise in 5 years, I wouldn't be able to do the channel at all. And likewise, if I hadn't had the support I've had, I wouldn't be able to do my channel. So I'm going to bend a few of these clips here, just a few on the bottom, like that, and then the back ones, because otherwise the shield will just lift out of place, if you see what I mean. The keyboard works fine, I've tested that, every single key works okay. And yeah, the keyboard's yellowed. I wouldn't retro bright an ST, I just wouldn't. You end up with far more things going wrong, you know, colours of keys going very, very unusual. It's a horrible yellow mark there, it's not coming off. I'll have to try and get some baking soda onto that. Yeah, some turrican there, even with that fuzzy noise that the video cable's introducing. Yeah, the sound, it can sound very, very similar to the Amiga in many ways. It's not as clear, definitely not as clear, but what they're doing there is mixing the 3 channels again to get, and it's a mod, it's going to be a mod file. Yeah, so it's definitely fuzzy compared to the Amiga. Bear in mind we've got that hum in the background as well. Yeah, this stuff is just not enough RAM. I saw that when I tested a bit of Lotus, first bits of flashing when you're loading stuff. Oh, I forgot that those are up there. There is a free life though, so there it is. I was looking for that recently in the Amiga version and I couldn't find it. There was other stuff up there instead, I think. Yeah, so which version do I prefer? The Amiga, hands down. It's funny, my channel started off with me collecting an ST first, but I've ended up really focused on the Amiga. I mean, I always really loved the Amiga, but, well, the ST I had before the Amiga. But I always thought they were almost on par, apart from maybe sound and graphics still up to a degree. but there is quite a big difference really when it comes to gaming. Oh, so bad at this. So here we are, all reassembled, booted from the Ultrasane, everything working. Yeah, so anyway, when I eventually got rid of my ST, I later got an Amiga, and I got this game. I've still got my original disc actually. Yeah, there's still noise come from this cable, but it is just this cable. I need to investigate that. There might be another video on the extra channel. But it's definitely the cable, because my ST does exactly the same with the same cable. I'm just wondering how you change the controller here. Hang on. Does it just start on its own? What's going on here? I think it's just started a mouse game, hasn't it? What is going on? That's better. Yeah, I must have hit fire right at the start, so I'm changing it to joystick. And I'm changing it to automatic. Because I'm lazy like that. Just waiting for it to load. And you accelerate that up. Right, here we go. Right. Yeah, so it runs really well on the ST. I mean, it runs really well on the Amiga as well. I always thought it ran better on the ST. The ST has a higher clock speed, but actually I think it runs better on the Amiga. Having said that, I'm used to playing this on faster than, you know, the standard clock speeds on the Amiga, like on an 030, etc. Anyway, it's very impressive, isn't it? The speed it can throw the polygons up here in the road. I always thought that if you could redo the Outrun game with this engine, you'd get a really good Outrun on a stock machine. Because obviously got the new 030, 040 version of Outrun now for AGA machines on the Amiga. But it needs a pretty high spec machine. I reckon this engine could be hacked or modified to do a similar job and probably get a really good interpretation of Outrun. Maybe for the ST and the Amiga. Because there's quite a lot of stuff the sides of the road on this as well. It throws up all these trees and signs and stuff. It doesn't struggle at all, does it? And the cars, are they scaled? Is it polygons? You know, I don't know. They're the cars, and there's enemy cars. They're not really enemies, are they? Competitor cars. The speed it throws them up is nuts. Yeah, so a huge thanks to pa1mer. I really enjoyed looking at that. Hopefully you found it interesting. If you'd like to support the channel, please see the Ko-fi and Patreon links down below. I'll catch you in the next video.